to Quarantine Conversations. This is episode number 2, and it's going to be a fun one for those of you who have seen a certain video on our channel. We have with us today Sam Zeller, who you might remember as Tutu from Clown TV. He's done a bunch of other stuff too that we'll get into. I spoke to Sam when I was making the Clown TV video, and he had so many great stories. So when I started doing these interviews, I was like, oh, I definitely have to hit up Sam and see if I can get him on. So, Sam, how are you?
I'm great, Wesley. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you holding up with all the quarantine business?
Oh my gosh. It's very, I think we're all dealing with a collective trauma right now, and it's difficult. I mean, I don't think it's ever going to be easy, but it's changed our lives, I think, forever to a point. I don't know how we're going to be able to go back to the normal that it was before all this. But yeah. I figured the best thing to do during this time was given to me for whatever reason. Why not utilize it to my fullest advantage? So I've been working out. I've been working on my webpage, and I'm adding a blog to it. I'm just getting work done. I'm doing spring cleaning. I'm throwing and donating clothes that I'm not wearing anymore. I mean, it's a positive outlook on things. My father was 16 years old, and he was shipped off to the Philippines for World War II. I think I could handle staying at home as my duty.
Yeah, you see all these crazy people now that are boycotting and protesting, and it's like a virus is not going to care if you want a haircut. You need to stay home.
Yeah, and the whole idea of this quarantine was to make sure that the hospitals weren't overwhelmed. And still, here in New York City, they've got a makeshift hospital in Central Park. And they've got one at the Javits Center, which is the convention center. And they're being used. I mean, until we know more information, you got to take care of yourself.
Well, the governor here in Georgia is saying things are going to start opening up this Friday and next Monday. And I'm like, why?
I don't know if it's time yet. I know they want to get the businesses back up and running in that. But if we have another wave of it, it's going to make it even worse.
Yeah, it's not going to help anybody in the long run. So you can't rush this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and you and I have not been through, I don't think, a pandemic like this in our lifetime.
Yeah, I'm not sure if anybody has.
Yeah, so I mean, the idea is that we have to rely on our officials to tell us what to do or the guide us through this, and in the process, why not work on yourself and become a better human being? And once it's all over, then we can share our stories and our revelations with each other. And hopefully, it's a good thing.
Definitely. And it's been interesting seeing how everyone has had to adapt. Like, what we're doing now is the same thing they're doing on like the Tonight Show. It's the same. Everybody is kind of on like a level playing field right now. It's kind of funny how
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny how we're filming the same way that Saturday Night Live is filming their shows now. Like everybody is in the same boat, making the best out of it.
Well, and that's interesting. When we put each other in the same boat, it kind of makes us all equal. In a sense. And that's why I think it's just really important, because the sooner that we can get going back into the swing of things and Broadway's been closed, and they're saying that it'll be closed until June, and that's even being, they're not sure that that's going to happen either. But we got to get that back. I mean, like in the Great Depression, when all these beautiful movies came out and people went there to forget about their troubles, we need to do that now. But we can't put people at risk. That's the thing. Unfortunately, and I hate to be all serious and maudlin about the whole thing, I'd rather, tell a joke or have some fun, but it's the reality of it though. And it's hard to deal with sometimes, especially when you're alone. My God, I mean, I'm going a little stir crazy here. I can only do so many things and the 12 other voices that I'm hearing in my head right now are, we have a great conversation, but, I don't know. It is what it is. And a lot of people here, I think, are alone. Not everybody's paired up and that kind of thing. And, I even try to encourage that and say we could kind of bypass all this. And if we sort of cohabitated somewhat, we would go back and forth to each other's place or just be exclusive for the time being until we find out more information. But it was more important to not. So I'd rather be around for a while longer. And I have things to do, but I have stories to tell and that kind of thing. So I want to stick around a little bit longer.
Definitely. And you definitely have some stories to tell. Because
I have stories to tell. My goodness.
I'm trying to think of where to start. I guess I'll ask you about how you got your start. What was your big breakthrough into theater or TV or first big audition?
Well, my mother said that I was very antsy as a child. I was always, I couldn't sit still. So she answered an ad in the Penny Saver of all things, and they were looking for Munchkins in the Wizard of Oz. So I went to this audition, and all they said is, "Can you do a cartwheel?" And I just did cartwheels all the way across the stage, showing off, kind of thing. Well, I was the youngest kid hired. I was 5 at the time, and they had kids that were like 8 or 9 that were in the show, and above. So, but I was made the leader of the Lollipop Guild, and I was really excited. But as kids are, they were mean and they were cruel to me, and because I was young and the littlest one, and that kind of thing. And even then, I wasn't the littlest one because I've always been big. So, and here's this 5-year-old, and all of a sudden I was bigger than some of the 8-year-olds. But the funny thing was that I loved it though. I had so much fun pretending and being on stage. They hired me right away again for the next show, which was Music Man, and to play Winthrop. And they fired me because I was so introverted from all the teasing that I got in Wizard of Oz that I couldn't find my voice. So it's the thing that I say, I was fired once as a 5-year-old, but it wasn't until I got to be about 9 or 10 that in the community that I lived in Anaheim, they had like a Wednesday afternoon thing where you would go and you would learn about the craft of acting. And we did these things called dime-a-dip dinners, where our parents would make these giant bowls of salad or whatever. And every time you took a scoop, it was 10 cents. So you'd have a plate of like 10 things and it was $1. And you'd sit there and everyone would eat and then we would perform for them. We would do little shows. And
that's great.
It was great. It was so great. I had such a great time. And I remember one time some kid came to the house and was doing a scavenger hunt. And I wanted to get everything on the list for them just because that was me. I was trying to people please, even back then. So one of them was a piece of blue material. And I'm like, blue material. And I looked in my mother's closet and there was this beautiful blue pantsuit. So I cut a big old chunk out of her sleeve. And I handed it. And so I'm at the Diamond Dip. This is many, many months later. And I'm like looking through the curtain as the kids do, trying to see our parents. And I see my parents and my mother sitting like this. And I knew right then and there that that's what happened, that she wanted to put on that suit for
oh no.
So of course she asked me in the car on the way home, did I do it? And I went, no. And I just started crying. So, my mother, God bless her, she always was forgiving, but my mother wanted to be a performer. She got hired to go to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York City back then in the 40s, which was not really, it was not unheard of, but I mean, my mother's mother, my grandmother said, no, you're going to get married and have children. That was her job, according to my grandmother. So she let go of that dream. And then here I am, a young kid. And she told me that I would run around the house saying, I want an agent. How did I know what an agent was? You know, and I would like do John Wayne impersonations and all that kind of stuff. And it was just, that was my life as a kid. Because I was alone. My older brothers are so much older than me that I didn't have anything in common with them. My oldest brother was already in college when I was born. So, I mean, that's how wide the gap was. So, you know, I enjoyed the idea of being somebody else. I thought, wow, I mean, I only know this, so maybe if I get to be somebody else, that's kind of cool too. You know, just change personalities and still have the essence of me, but, you know, get to play and do other things. But it wasn't until, you know, in high school, there was no theater because it was all cut for you know, whatever purpose. I mean, they were trying to lower the property taxes. So what did they do? They cut from the education program. Okay.
Yeah.
So we didn't have that. So I threw everything into everything else. I was class president all 4 years of high school. I was editor of the school paper. I varsity letterman in sports. I just did everything because I wanted a scholarship to college, and I also wanted to feel like I was a part of something. And it wasn't until college that I needed to double major in journalism with something else. And I looked on a sign and it said, looking for an actor to play a 90-year-old general store manager in a play called Merton of the Movies, which was a Kaufman and Ferber play. And so I went and I auditioned, and they hired me, and I had the best time. And instinctively, I drew all the lines on my face, and I put like talcum powder in my hair to look old and the whole thing. And I realized that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an entertainment reporter. That's what I wanted to do. And then by the time I got my degree, I had forgotten all about journalism altogether and was just like, I really want to perform. But the first gig I ever got, I was in college. I got hired to play Caleb in Seven Brides for Seven Brothers at Fullerton Civic Light Opera. Sean Newman, who's no longer with us, unfortunately, hired me. And I did that production probably 5 or 6 times with her all over the place. And it's one of those shows that you really, you become very close with all the other cast members because it is Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. We're always together. And you have to trust each other because we're lifting people and, all sorts of dance moves and things like that. It's intense. But it was the greatest thing because I loved it. And back then in college, I would go to school during the day. I was doing Into the Woods at night for college. Then I'd work at the, it was a motel across the street from Disneyland. I was the night auditor. So I would do that. And then I'd bring a cushion or whatever, and I'd fall asleep or do homework. And then I'd go to school. So I had this 24-hour cycle where I was just working nonstop. I was going to school, doing a show, going to work, going to school, doing a show, going to work. And that lasted for a little while, but when you're 20, you can do it, but not when you're not older. I couldn't do that now. It would drive me crazy if I had to do it. But when you're young, you have all the energy in the world. You can do whatever you want, Yeah,
that's so much. And it's so cool that I was going to ask if you did theater in high school, but it's wild that you went that many years without it and then still found your way back to it.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I played minor league baseball with the Minnesota Twins organization. And the funny thing is that my mother said, no. Every young boy wants to be a professional baseball player. Find something that you can, rely on. And I said, okay, I'll go into acting, and, but it was journalism at first. I mean, at 16, I wrote for the Orange County Register. I really was very much a go-getter when I was a kid. I walked in and I said, yeah, I'm looking for a job. And they're like, well, circulation's in the back. Thinking that I wanted a paper route. And I'm like, no, I want to write for the paper. And the city editor said, wow, okay, well, let's have you file some photographs in the thing, and let's sweep up the floor. And that's what I did for a while. And then until they finally let me write an article. And once I wrote an article, then all of a sudden it was this ongoing thing. And they said, who wants to go to the opera? And I'm like, I'll go. I'd love to go to the opera. And so I got to write about the opera and write about theater and concerts. I got to meet Michael Hutchence before he committed suicide. I mean, it was like, wow, just like a really cool thing to be able to be like, and then that's why I like the entertainment field so much, is because then I was interacting with all these people. And but then I kind of, it's one thing to write about a production. I'd rather be in it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it went. I wrote a scathing review for a dinner theater, a production of Hello Dolly. And, it's a Tuesday matinee. I mean, who does a Tuesday matinee? Not anybody. But they bust in like all these senior citizens, and everyone's getting their food. And, and then they come out and do the show and they're like, hello, Dolly. Like they could care less. And I'm like, you know what? You are professional actors and you are getting paid a professional wage. Be professional. And the theater guy called me and he says, you're just a frustrated actor. And I went, maybe I am. And that's when it started. It was like, I'm going to take a class. And that's how I ended up becoming a double major in college. So
that's fantastic. Yeah, I'm the same way sometimes, even though I don't do theater now. I did it in high school. And now if I go see anything, I'm like, this is good, but I kind of miss doing.
Yeah, of course it is. And especially if you see something good, you want to be a part of it.
I want to get into some other shows that you've done, and I don't know where this falls in on the timeline or how old you were at the time. Yeah. But you told me, it's so funny because this probably isn't like one of your favorite things or even the best thing you've ever done, but I think it's the coolest. Just one of the coolest things is that Flintstone show at Universal Studios.
God, of course. Oh, I love the Flintstones. It was so much fun. It was right directly after Clown TV.
Wow. Okay.
Because I met Heidi. Heidi was one of the polka dots, and she was my Wilma.
Wow, that's right. You did tell me that. Yeah, I forgot about that.
So I had to do this 25 times a day. It hurts just doing it once.
Still got it.
Here's my water. And they put notes under the door saying, people are going to be warming up and singing and playing their instruments, so let them do it because this is an artist's, community. So who would have thought that Fred Flintstone would be saying hello? It was a great gig. I loved it. And we went through the ringer in order just to get cast. It was like an all-day audition and callbacks. And I mean, it was just ongoing. And you think, what are they going to do with us? Well, it was a multi-million-dollar production. I mean, we were in a pterodactyl that flew over the audience, and and it was just a really cool thing that happened at that time. I was in there for the last year that it ran. It was 1997. It's weird saying 19 something. 1997, and I got to be a full-time Fred. My first audition, out, and they had like it's a great setup. They'd have like 12 Freds underneath me, and if I couldn't go to work that day, or if I had an audition, or if I had something, that I called the Fred next on the list. But I was guaranteed my job because I was a full time. So, but yeah, I mean, I got a couple of stories about Flintstones. One of my things is I had to do the Running Man. And that's how Fred is discovered by Ed McRock, and he's going to go on the Star Search or whatever the program was. And I'm doing the Running Man, and I feel this snap in my leg, and I'm like, that's weird. And then I felt this warm liquid like going up and down my leg, and I thought, that's weird. I've never felt that before. And I went to take a step, and I fell to the floor. I had ripped my calf muscle, and I couldn't walk. So I'm just sitting there on the floor, looking around, and and they had to stop the show, and then they literally had to come out, and they had brought like a gurney, and they had to put me on the gurney, and they had to take me. Now they didn't even bother to get me dressed or anything. They took me right to the hospital, and you hear as they bring me into the hospital, they go, "Fred Flintstone's just been admitted into the hospital." It's crazy, and I was out for 6 weeks. Because I mean, I ripped my calf muscle, and it was so upsetting. But yeah, nothing worse than feeling healthy, but you're immobile, kind of thing, But I learned. I mean, it's one of those things that you've got to stretch constantly. I mean, I've done it. I did it at the Wild West Stunt Show, probably a year or two later, where I'm, being all doing the stunt show, and then I felt that snap again, and I went, "You've got to be kidding!" And it's like hopping on one leg on uneven pavement, and then I had to climb up to the roof, and I had to jump off and do my flip onto the crash pad, and then I hobble out for my bow, and I was like, I snapped my leg again. So I mean, it's
oh
just,
my goodness,
it's crazy. But
is the Wild West one? Is that another Universal show?
Yeah. They had Waterworld, the Wild West show. I mean, it's all different now because I mean times change, and then they add different shows and take away shows. But Wild West was a staple there. They'd been there from the very, very, very beginning, and I think they got rid of it now.
I think Waterworld is still there, but I don't know about the others. I believe so.
Yeah, I mean, it's to show how movies are made, and that's why the whole Western thing was exciting, because they were showing the old Hollywood and those kinds of movies. And when you hit somebody over the head with a bottle, it's not a real bottle, it's made out of sugar and that kind of thing, and it just kind of it explodes on your head, but it doesn't hurt you in any way. So, but yeah,
that's a blast.
Yeah, and the other one, which is the one I think you want me to tell, is I mean, summertime. You do. We did 10 shows a day. I mean, that's how long. That's how many. And they would split it up. So I did the first 5 of the day, and then we're done. And a bunch of us were like, well, we don't have to go home right away, and we've got the rest of the day off, so let's go and have some food in the City Walk area. There's this great restaurant, it's a Mexican restaurant. We're having all this Mexican food, and we're drinking margaritas, and we're just having a good old time. And then I look at my phone, and it's Universal calling me, and I'm like, hello? And they're like, Sam, are you still on site? And I'm like, I am. I'm having lunch. And he goes, well, we need you to come back and do the rest of the shows tonight, because Rick tripped and fell out of the car, and his leg is all messed up, and the show's about to start, and we need a Fred. We don't have a Fred. I go, I can't come to work right now. I'm drunk. I mean, I don't know how many margaritas I had, but I mean, you could smell tequila coming out of me already, and I had to kind of sit there because I wasn't going to drive home. So I go, I can't. And they like, just get in here. So I'm like, okay. So I went in and I'm walking through, and, and everybody's seeing me, and I'm white as a sheet because this is the first time I've ever gone on stage under the influence. I mean, it's like crazy. So I was like, okay. So of course I could smell the tequila on me and all that. And I'm literally having to like hold on to a bone and have it lift me up off the ground. And I'm falling into a volcano, and I'm flying over the audience in a pterodactyl, and then there's a giant dog barking at me, Dino and all that. I was beside myself. I almost felt like I was on a Carol Burnett like comedy sketch where I'm laughing at myself because I could not believe that I was doing this. And I did. I was so drunk. Oh
my gosh.
I was like, hello, I was just like, I couldn't hide it. I was so giddy about it. And also I was like, shh, don't say anything, because I'm really drunk, but I got through it, thankfully, and I didn't hurt anybody or myself.
No audience complaints or anything?
No, nothing like that. And it would always be funny because I'd have to fall, I'd have to do some yabba dabba do, and then I'd have to fall backwards into a volcano, and the volcano would like go crazy. And I always remember when I hit that crash pad, I was like, oh, I have to go. I have another entrance to make, And I loved the idea of just laying there. I was like, oh, this is nice. Oh shit, I gotta go. I gotta do the next thing, So
that's fantastic.
That's great. I love that. I always remember that too. And that in the hospital, having to go in, and they're like, Fred Flintstone's been admitted into the ER.
So you were at Universal for a good while then.
I was there for a good I'd say about 2 years. Because then right after that, I got hired to do Peter Pan with Cathy Rigby. And then I did a national tour, and then came here to New York, which was the first time I came to New York.
Yeah, you were Captain Hook too, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I was Starkey the pirate, but I understudied Captain Hook. So what was great is that our Captain Hook had a voiceover gig in Manhattan. So he would open the show in whatever city we were in, and then he'd go to New York, and he'd make a ton of money doing the voiceover. So I got to do Captain Hook, the rest of the week. So I almost did it as much as he did, if not more, sometimes.
Wow.
And I loved it. It was really great. And then playing him differently. It was the way that they wanted to do this version is that they wanted him to be sinister, and they wanted him to be really evil and cruel. Then you've got Peter Pan being more of a hero in a way, because if he's just being all floppy and that kind of thing, okay, we can accept it because it's the cartoon version or whatever. But then no, this was a man that was wanting to kill him, and it was really kind of a little nerve-wracking at first to do, but it was great. I love being able to do that. And Cathy is an amazing human being. I remember when she was 45 and doing it, and I said, okay, it's time to put up the fairy dust. And then I passed her age, and I did it again with her. And I mean, unbelievable. The energy that woman has, and the vitality and the youth that she has. I mean,
Yeah.
I adore her. She's great.
Yeah, she was doing that for years. I don't even know.
She just did it again not too long ago in British Columbia, I think it was. And I mean, I could probably do the math and tell you her age, but I won't out of being polite. But the idea is that she can still do it. That's what's amazing about her. And it doesn't have to be this tall. I mean, she's 4 something, and she's adorable.
Yeah, she's great. I can't remember if it was her doing it. I think it was. I saw it live when I was a kid at the Fox Theater here in Atlanta. So you might have been in it. I don't know.
We were there. We were at Fox in Atlanta. I love the Fox. One of the most beautiful theaters in all country. Really,
it's great. Yeah. And
there was boots too.
Oh wow. I think I still have the video. I know they have like the VHS performance of Cathy Rigby doing it. And I saw you're in that as Starkey the Pirate.
Yeah. They did. They filmed that for the biography channel at the time, A&E, I think it was called, cable station. What they would do is they would do an interview with a famous person, and that was the show. But what they wanted to do with Cathy is they wanted to do her biography, and then after it, show the movie of Peter Pan. So we were able to do that, and it was a nice vocal. They wanted it to be like Sound of Music is every Christmas. Everyone would watch it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it ended up becoming more of a purchase video that you would buy, then you bring home, and that kind of thing. But I just saw it. Oh my God! I was on an airplane. I was going to LA, and because it was the holidays, I looked and it said Peter Pan, and I was like, really? And it was the one that I was in. So here I am, and I'm a big old softie. I'm crying because I'm, and the lady says, "Are you okay?" And I said, "That's me on the screen right there." And she goes, "Oh my God, that is you!" It was just kind of surreal because I'm on a plane, and who thinks that you're gonna watch yourself on television?
Yeah, especially that of all the things to be on an airplane, I would never expect the Broadway production of anything.
But it was a holiday season, and that's why I think that they had it on there. It's very cool.
I wish more shows would do that. I think they kind of are now that no one can go anywhere. But I used to play the hell out of that Peter Pan and that Cats video.
Totally
fantastic.
Yeah,
so good.
That's a great show too. I see everything. I love every show that I've gotten to do. It's very rare. I can't tell you any gig that I did not like.
Before we get into some clown TV business, I just want to make sure we cover anything that you want to talk about. I was looking at your IMDb, and I'm like, I don't even know what to ask about. You've been a Klingon on Star Trek.
It's like a claim to fame. I mean, people who are Star Trek enthusiasts, and that's trivia as far as I'm concerned. I mean, that would be the $1 million question on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. It's like Lieutenant Chittard on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. I was brought in. It was my first television gig, first one out the bat. They said they wanted someone that had Shakespearean experience. They wanted somebody that had a big booming voice kind of thing. So I was like, okay. So I went in and I did the scene, and they hired me. and I'm called in at 4 a.m. to put on the makeup. It would take 3 hours, and then I'd have breakfast or whatever. Then we'd have rehearsal on the set. The director was so cool. He liked my animosity with, if you know anything about this series, the Worf was the first lieutenant in command of the Klingon army. His son was joining the Federation, but under an assumed name, but I knew who he was. And I was thinking, okay, he's trying to play favorites here. So I was second lieutenant. So of course I have this whole thing with him. And then in the idea of saving his life, I died. But the director said, no, I like the way you guys are arguing with each other and making all this animosity happen. So what we're going to do is I'm going to keep you alive, and we're going to recur your role. Who would not be thrilled as anything to be told that you were going to die in the episode, but now we're going to keep you alive because we want to keep you going.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Well, the season, unfortunately, the show ended the 6th season, and that was the 6th season that I was on.
Oh,
but still,
man.
I got to be recurred, and I got to be on. If you know who Gabrielle Union is, Gabrielle Union, her first gig was was our first episode. She played, I can't remember her name, but she was one of the Klingons. And she
That's amazing.
Stuff. So, I mean, and look where she went, it was a great gig. And I remember 4 a.m., we went all the way one day to 1 a.m.
Wow.
Then I had to be back at 4 a.m. So I'm like, okay, so take a little cat nap or whatever, and then I'm back in the chair because they have to take the makeup off you, and then they have to just reapply it. I'm looking at lines for the day. It's all that psychobabble talk about impulse injectors and the this has to attach to the whatever, and I'm going, you've got to be kidding me. So of course, Michael Dorn shows up. I haven't seen him all week. It's he's had a nice rest and he's looking nice and everything. So we're doing rehearsal, and I can't hold on to those words to save my life because it means nothing to me. What these things are. And he says, can't we just have the camera on me and let him just read the lines on a piece of paper? And I said, I mean, I don't know what I did, but I kind of yelled at him, and I said, I have had no sleep. I jumped on him. And the director said, okay, everybody take 5. And so I sat in my little director's chair that I was in, and I had my hands covering my face, and I looked up, and then there's this sea of Klingons coming towards me. And I was like, yeah. And they said, thank you for saying that to him. He always shows up after, I don't know how many days off he has, and he wants everything to be run his way, and he doesn't realize that we've been working our asses off, for the last whatever. And I thought, okay. So then you see from the distance a bunch of Klingons laughing and having fun together. And then Michael Dorn comes over and he says, "You want to run lines?" And I said, "Yeah, that would be nice." And so he was very nice after that. But I mean, once he was explained, this kid has been working almost 24 hours. I mean, that's a lot of time to be working. And, with hardly any breaks. I mean, I got meal penalty after meal penalty. It was unheard of. But it was cool. And then I'm left-handed, and they had the fight in the mess hall, and they had my guy be right-handed. And I go, I can't fake it because it doesn't feel right. But doing this felt more. I can do my own stunts. Really? Yeah, I can do my own stunts. Okay. By the end of the day, he gave me the knife that separates into 3 blades. I have my own. So. That was very cool, and he said that I earned it. So it was a nice gift to have.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite role you've ever done, either in theater or TV?
Gosh.
There's so many.
Everyone that I've done, I've loved so much. But in terms of TV, it would have to be the Klingon, or it would be Gunther the Great in the Imagination Movers for Disney. I don't know if you're familiar with that show, but it's for preschool kids. And there's always an issue, and then they try to help the person out. And they've had like Guy Fieri and prominent names be their guest stars. I was their guest star for that week, and I was the strong man in the circus. and I couldn't lift the weight over my head. And we had to figure out why I couldn't lift the weight over my head. So, we're trying all these different things, and I get hungry, and then I'm, and everyone's starting to eat like really healthy food, and I pull out cotton candy, and I'm eating from the circus, and they're like, well, maybe that's your problem, Gunther. You're not eating the right foods. And I'm like, but cotton candy's so good. They kept doing that scene over and over again. They had to give me milk because I was getting sugar rushed like you wouldn't believe, just eating cotton candy like crazy. But it was cute. And like, even in the audition, you have to know who your audience is, So all these guys, these bodybuilders were coming out of the room like shirtless. And I'm going, oh God, really? Do I have to like get naked in there? What's the deal? So I walk in and there was no talk at all of like, show me your body or anything like that. All she said was, this television show is for kids. And so I said, okay. I mean, I knew that, but with the mentality, I kind of made him kind of goofy and stupid and whatever. I'm a strong man. So, and I got the gig, and it was like first class, fly to New Orleans. The Imagination Mover guys would only do the TV series if they got to perform and work in New Orleans, because it was just after Katrina, and they wanted to rebuild the whole thing down there. And they did. And it was really awesome. They were the nicest guys. I had a couple days off during the week. They sent me into the French Quarter to enjoy myself. And I mean, it was really, really nice. That was a fun gig. In terms of theater, it would either have to be Valjean in Les Mis, because it's such a beautiful role. And I read the novel while doing it, and there's so much that is not explained in the musical, and they couldn't, obviously. But I mean, he agrees to be buried alive to save this man's life, and they forget about him, and he almost dies in the process. And I mean, it's kind of cool that I'm reading, this classic novel and getting excited like I would watching Game of Thrones or something like that. You know what I mean? It was so intense, and I loved it. I was able to cry and sing without my voice quivering or making. It was a transformation that I went through the entire time, and it was when I quit smoking. I quit smoking for good. I had to. I said I will never be able to sing that role if I continue to smoke, and I just quit cold turkey. And I thank goodness I haven't gone back to it since.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I think though one of the which was a surprise was Tevye in Fiddler on the Roof. I never thought I'd ever do that show, because I always saw an old man playing Tevye,
Yeah.
But they said if you were arranged a marriage at 18 and you had kids right away, yeah, you'd be in your 40s. And I'm like, okay. So I didn't realize how much he talked and then how much he sang and with the emotion that was involved in it. But I loved it so much, being able to do that. And then I had my little girls, and they were all, like on Father's Day, they all came and gave me flowers on Father's Day. And, that's it's special. It's very, very special to be able to have that. I have a lot of theater family all over the place. And the unfortunate thing about that is that we only get that certain amount of time to be together, and then it's over. But we still keep in touch. It's just that we don't always get to continue with the friendship as much as we want to, because the show is over. I mean, I played Edna, I don't know how many times now, in Hairspray. I love playing her.
That's a great role.
Oh, now that I'm older, Edna has a hot flash every now and then on stage. That's the only way she's going to be able to function. No, it's good. I've been very lucky and very blessed. Coming to New York was a very difficult task for me because I lost both my parents during Kinky Boots. I ended a 15-year relationship. I put everything into storage. I moved all the way across the country from Los Angeles, and then I get here and the tour is done. So I'm literally with nothing, and I'm in this $2,600 a month apartment on 51st and 8th, right next door to Wicked.
Wow.
And I'm going, what do I do? What am I going to do? And I was so depressed for a long time. And thankfully, I know a lot of people here. And I've been really good friends with a few people. One who is, I helped invest in his show that he had running in the West End last year. And he's writing or conceiving a new musical, and he's writing a role for me in it. And it's exciting because it's it's something that I think I would be so good at doing. I can't really say anything, but the idea is that it's something that I get to work towards, and it's a challenge. It's not something that's just going to be easy. It's going to be a challenge. And I'm excited about that. And to feel that there's a sense of purpose, throughout all of this is so important. But that's why this quarantine time is allowing me to catch up with myself.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, before we end everything, we do have a special guest, which I gotta go get him. But
okay. He's there with you right now?
He's not with me. That would be bad
social
distancing.
He was like sitting quietly in the corner and not saying anything. Or
No, that would be hard to keep a secret. But I do have somebody for you, so give me just a moment, and we'll be right back with him.
Sounds good. Oh, wait a minute. Who's this? Oh, you said it was a surprise.
Oh my God, look what the cat drugged in. I thought you'd been put in the litter box years ago, girl.
How dare you interrupt my interview?
It's time for Tutu to go on commercial break, and it's the nosy show.
Yeah, I'll go have a nosy pie and then have to go to the emergency room.
Oh, don't act like that you haven't had a nosy pie lately. Come on.
Hi, honey.
Hi, baby doll. Hi,
How are you? Good to see you.
You too. I'm going to give you one of our famous air kisses, okay?
Oh,
I missed you ever so.
For those of you who don't know, this is Terry Ray, who plays Nosy the Clown from Clown TV. We have a video about it on this YouTube channel that you should definitely check out. It's an insane, awesome story. And these two are just fantastic together. That's one of my favorite comedy duos right there.
Who would have thought that after all these years, right?
Right? It's nice to know that somebody saw our brilliance.
And I actually have a collector's item right here. You might.
Wow.
Still in there. I was wondering. Yeah, but since we have both Nosy and Tutu here, I was wondering if you guys have any stories from on the set or anything that you remember. I know we covered so much of it in the video, but anything you guys want to talk about?
Oh,
what do we want to talk about? It was only a couple days ago when we did that.
That's right, exactly. No, and it's interesting because here you are. I met Terry doing this, right? I mean, I didn't know you beforehand, did I?
No, I think we met during this time, yeah.
Yeah, and who would have thought? But yeah, we have maintained friendships throughout this. You were just in New York not too long ago when I came to see your show.
Yeah.
Are you coming back?
Well, when theater happens again, we're coming back.
Tell me that.
I know.
It's weird.
I know.
It's a ghost town here. It's literally a ghost town. You walk outside, there's trash everywhere in the streets. It's real, and then there's more homeless, it seems, because they see one person walking and they're all coming to get something from you. They're aggressive, and it's very weird. I mean,
it's scary.
It is scary. And I was saying before, they were dragging a woman out of the food emporium because she wanted to eat. She was hungry. And she was spitting on people because she wanted to give them the virus. She said, I'm going to give you the virus.
Oh, God.
Like, oh, God.
I'm in Palm Springs. It's nice here.
I hear it's like it's going to be 100.
Here today?
Yeah. Or close to it.
No, it's supposed to be upper 80s.
Oh, well,
okay.
I'm sorry. It's only 50 here.
Hey, Wesley.
Yeah.
Sam has one of the biggest mouths, and I don't mean loud, I mean wide in all of show business. Sam, please take your cell phone and put this in your mouth because I know you can.
You're going to make me do that? Not the whole thing. But I can't put my... Why did it get dark here all of a sudden? I'm in shadow now.
Because you're in my shadow. You always have been in my shadow, Sam. It's just
I will cut you so hard. Okay, see this hand? It's very big.
It is big. It's big. Look at that.
Oh my goodness.
It's like he has no jaw connection. It just
You see some of that in the in Clown TV with the chocolate.
Spoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they got they had a regular spoon, but I remember they ended up going, oh no, we can get him a bigger one. And they got me this big giant ladle.
It was a ladle. Yeah. It was massive.
Yeah, it was massive. And my lips just went
just like in there while talking. I'm back out.
It's fun.
Do you remember the first time you guys met? Was it just automatic chemistry?
It must have been at Jim's house.
Yeah, probably at Jim's house. Yeah, we're learning music and things like that, and then because of Heidi then became my Wilma and Flintstones, and I mean this whole network sort of maintained friendship, maintained
close circle.
Yeah, it's nice. It is nice, and it's nice to support each other when each other is working and stuff like that. It's important.
Yeah. Who knew? I mean, I don't know. What year was that?
96.
96.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
97.
And Wesley, what year were you born?
I was born in 94.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye. We're out of here. Okay.
I'm sorry.
96.
Oh, 96. Where did you go?
I'm trying to put some light onto the subject.
Oh, he's getting his lights turned on.
Turn on your heart light, Sam. That would light you up.
It's awfully cold here, and I think it's because of your shoulder. Cold shoulder. Your frozen heart. Not much, do I? With the lights. I'll have to sit like this.
While I have you guys here, there is I know I did the podcast with Terry after we did the Clown TV video, and there's a story I forgot to get you to tell about how Nosy almost ended up in a movie.
Oh, yes. Gosh, I can't remember the name of that guy.
That's okay. I don't think you remembered when we talked about it either. But
because I had that clip of Nosy on YouTube, and they were doing some kind of horror movie, and they wanted something with clowns, and they got a hold of me and asked if they could use that clip as this kid was watching TV in the horror movie. And I had to find our elusive producers because we could all make money. I would be like getting residuals from this clip, and he would be making money. He was impossible to track down. And when I did it, it was like, he finally said yes, but it was too much time. They'd already moved on. So then they were I'm like, I'll shoot a new one.
Reprise the role of Nosy in a horror movie, like how they rebooted the Banana Splits and they're in a horror movie now.
I was just afraid they were going to ask Tutu, and then I would have been really mad.
Well, then it would have been a porn film if I was in it.
Well, it might have been the same producer if that was.
There was a lot of twirling from Tutu and no panties. I'm just saying, and this was like.
Well, I'm hoping someday we can do some more Clown TV, or at least I haven't told Sam, but me and Terry have talked about it. I'd love to do a full-length documentary and actually interview everybody in person one of these days when we're.
Want to do that?
Yeah, I think it would be great. I think it's a fun story, and I think it would get people's attention because a YouTube video is one thing, but a feature-length thing that we could put in festivals and stuff, I think it'd be so fun. It's such a great story. So maybe someday when we're not all locked up in the house, that's something that could happen.
But hey, while you're locked up in the house, it's nice to come up with the idea and have it, plant the seed. I think we all thought that this was a program for adults. It wasn't really for kids.
Yeah.
Or like Adult Swim or whatever that, I think it would be such a great thing now, knowing as an adult. I'm glad that I know South Park as an adult, because if I was a little kid, I think I would be traumatized in so many ways, But being an adult watching that, I'm okay with that. I think it would be so much fun to do this and have it be an adult,
Yeah, me too. I remember when I was a kid, Batman was the show Batman was on TV with Adam West, and I thought it was real. I thought it was super serious. And then as an adult, you go, "Oh my God, it's so campy and gay." But I didn't get that as a kid. I just thought, "Oh my God, Batman's in trouble. What's going to happen tomorrow?"
Right. And you're worried for him.
Yeah, but it was so campy.
Yeah. No, I think it would be fun.
Yeah.
Oopsie,
I grew up.
Those two were hysterical.
I've gotten some people who now they've seen the YouTube video, so they have some kind of context of what clown TV is. And I saw someone tweet the other day at me because I was sharing it with some people again, and they said, "Get that ice cream cone off my nose." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's weird to see somebody else reference that."
Oh wow,
it's crazy. It's weird for us because we thought we were in a vacuum, that like we were just doing it and having fun, and we didn't think anybody actually saw it. So.
I'm glad.
Thank you, Wesley.
Yes.
I'm glad. I'm glad it exists. I'm glad my mom bought a videotape randomly all those years ago.
Well, if you can get us Tutu and Nosy action figures on your shelf, then we'll be very happy.
Oh my God.
I wish I would have been the only kid with those back in the day, but
the only kid with them. Yes. Well, Sam and I would have had a couple, but yeah.
And he sleeps with his, so that's,
That would be great. But yeah, I'm glad we've been able to bring it to some more people. There's been a few people out there who've commented and said, "Oh my gosh, I've been looking for this for years." And I'm like, "Oh wow, there's more people out there who knew what this was, and now there's more." So I'm glad we've been able to keep it going.
Since everybody was able to put it on YouTube, I had not seen it in years, and then to watch it again, it made me laugh because it was a warehouse that had nothing in it, and we just created an environment, and it was
shot like a play. We weren't television smart. Like, we had people make an entrance instead of cut to them. You don't have to do that in TV, but we have to run in front of the camera and then run off instead of cutting. But we didn't know what we were doing. But it's fun.
Yeah.
It
still can be.
What?
It still can be fun.
It can still be fun.
Right?
I want to be a guest on the Tutu show again because I am not going to get upstage, but that stupid toaster cozy poodle of yours.
You be nice to Craig Suzette.
I will not.
She has breathed life into you when you.
I will not suck up to that.
We are going to have Nosy the Clown rolled in on his wheelchair, and we're going to pull his life support off.
I want to see you do your musical numbers now with your hip rate.
Don't mind the bones cracking.
No, we don't need another.
And I don't want to wear my skin tight pants anymore. Oh my God.
Where did all those costumes go?
You conga. I will sit here and enjoy it.
Does anybody still have the costumes, or are they
probably
history?
Jim might have them. He owned them all. The tutu thing lived for a while. I
did it.
I'm sure he had other people wear our stuff because he put me in spandex in every role I was in. I never got to wear anything that wasn't form fitting, which was very hard. But I bet you somewhere he's got some of that. Because we gotta get him to dig it out one of these days. I don't know where it lived. How long does foam live before it just turns into a dust? But
right.
That's a good question.
I don't know if I have my girlish figure anymore.
Well, just extra ruffles, girl. It hides it all. Just get that little skirt a little higher, and you'll be fine.
There was one moment that I remember sitting on that stool, and instead of going in front of it and sitting down, I straddled the thing.
Yes, I remember that. It makes me laugh every time I watch. You were so ladylike.
I know. Like a mountain cone or something. It's like, oh,
you are like Paul Bunyan in drag. I mean, you are.
Yeah, I'm not dainty.
You're not dainty. You have a big Pump prints.
Right. How long have you lived in Palm Springs?
What?
How long have you lived in Palm Springs?
A year and a half. I've been doing electricity here. It was the longest running play in Palm Springs. 2.5 years we've been doing it here.
That's fantastic,
I
honey.
finally moved here, and I have a little house.
Wow, that's so nice.
So yeah, but now of course the world has stopped. So the longest running play is not happening right now. So
Is it going to go back up once everything goes?
yeah,
back?
hopefully. I mean, like if the venues don't go out of business, so.
And that's terrible too. A lot of venues are going out of business.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm so worried about all the little smaller theaters around here too
They'll have
with
to pay
all
their
of this.
Yeah, and no income, and they're already living on the edge anyway. So
New York Sports Club just filed bankruptcy. It's like they're a huge, corporation. The gyms that they own here in Manhattan. What are they going to do with them then? I don't know. But I was thinking of joining them, and then I read that they were filing for bankruptcy, and I thought, oh my God. I mean, it's like the bodega across the street where I would get my whatever. It's boarded up. It's not even like closed for quarantine. It's boarded up with newspaper covering the windows. It's like, it's so weird. It's very weird.
crazy times.
Are you staying home, Terry?
Oh
Right?
yeah, I'm home. I'm so sick of my own company. Oh my God.
I know. I am too. I'm sick of your company too. Yeah.
10 minutes. Over.
Oh my God, it would be so nice to have some companionship. I mean, yeah, it gets lonely here at times.
Oh my God, I was at this restaurant with these really, really old waitresses, and they had their name tags, and this woman was 100 years old, and her name was Tutu, T-U-T-U.
Oh my God.
I
Did you
could
take a picture of that?
I did. Somewhere I have it.
Oh my God, that's hysterical. Well, hey, she has to make a living somehow.
Tutu.
I remember you telling me that because it was right after I had contacted you.
Yeah,
and then that's so wild how that works.
I go there. She's still there. Well, when it was, we could go to restaurants, but yeah.
Yeah, a long time ago, BC, before COVID.
BC.
Right?
Yeah.
Are we going to get through this? Is it going to happen soon?
We're going to get through it, but we're going to be different.
Yeah.
So I can't write. I don't know how to write about it because it's like, I don't know how it ends, and you can't write about our world afterwards until you know where we're at. So I'm like, I don't know how to write a play about. I have to write something in the past because I don't know how to write the future yet.
Right. Well, I kept thinking that this was going to be a great time for all of us because it gives us a chance to reflect and really work on ourselves. And I've noticed that there are people who are doing that, and there are people who are not at all. And they're not staying home. They're, out and about. And I keep thinking, don't you realize that you're putting not only yourself, but you're putting other people at risk? And this is not how we're supposed to be dealing with this. We're supposed to be kind of in this together. And when I see the woman being pulled out of the grocery store, spitting at people, and the cops are running to chase some random guy down the street, people pushing each other, I was saying that they're not 6 feet away, but they're like 4 feet away, and they're like, stay away from me. It's like, come on, guys. It's not like it's all over us, and we've got to learn how to fix this together. Otherwise, it's not going to be a happy ending.
Have you had a lot of friends get it?
I've read about 3 people I know have passed away, and it really didn't mean anything until it became real when I heard. And then I couldn't believe it at first. And then of course I had called and found out that it was true. And I'm afraid to go walk. I'm afraid to go to the grocery store. I'm afraid to go to CVS and get medication because I don't want to catch it. But at the same time, you can't live in that fear. I'm sure there are people who are just being whores and having a great time doing it and won't get it at all. I would still rather do what I've been told, because it's only that and wash your hands. Wash your hands and stay home. I think that's something that we all can do. Mm-hmm. There's a makeshift hospital in Central Park, You take the subway to Columbus Circle and you get out, you don't hear a sound. There's no cars, there's no noise. And then as you get closer to the hospital, the makeshift hospital, you hear this chorus of coughing.
Oh my God.
Coughing. It's sad, and it's also frightening. And I mean, and we go there because they have to add more room. There's not enough space. And I mean, it's real. It's not syphilis. It's not HIV. This is something that's killing people. And I don't want anyone. I don't want to go to your funeral. I don't want you to come to mine. I want us to be here for a lot longer, doing what we do best, and that's making people happy. You know.
Yeah.
I hope we get that chance.
I know, Wesley. We're sad.
I know. I was hoping this would be a happy reunion.
Clowns. There's nothing worse than a sad clown.
Right?
Tears of a clown. Tears of a clown.
Yeah, tears of a clown. Pagliacci. That's yeah. There's all kinds of clowns.
That's right. Clowns have range. We've been
That's
pigeonholed
true.
for too long.
Well,
Clowns that's a salesman. Let's do it.
maybe that's what we need. We need the dark, gritty clown TV reboot. Post-apocalyptic clown TV.
Right.
Edgy clown TV. Yes.
Scary clown.
Clown Zoom.
And yet there are people who have an actual fear of clowns.
Oh yeah, a lot of people are terrified of clowns.
Yeah, my aunt is one of them. She's terrified of clowns, so I don't think she appreciated her son watching this with us all the time on vacation.
We were very non-threatening.
Yeah, I think so.
Though we did have, the two of us were
Threatening to each other, mostly.
Conflict. I can see if we had gotten to go on that they would have had a date. They would have had a romantic thing that didn't work, but they would have tried.
Well, yeah, I think so.
Was there ever any episodes that were written and not filmed, or is it just the two that you guys did?
Just the ones we did, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, did you even think about what your storyline was going to be ongoing or anything like that? I mean, it would be kind of fun.
I know.
Think about it.
Jim was like, for me, he was like, "You're nosy. I don't know what you're doing. I haven't written you." And then finally, he's like, you got to write your own part. I don't know what to do with you, so I wrote it.
That's fantastic.
We should do it. I really do. I don't see why we can't.
I'm game. We need $5. That's how much we spent last time.
Never.
$7.
Yeah, with inflation, it's $7 now.
Yeah. So we save up for that $7. We can do it with saran wrap and feather boas. We can.
Yeah, why not? It's the same amount of money you get doing an under 100 seat house in LA now, right? Isn't that what the going rate is for under 100? Or a 99 seat theater plan is $7 a show?
Oh, I don't even know. I think maybe that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's weird.
Well, there's going to be plenty of theaters that need saving. Do a Muppet style Save the Theater show, and we'll just put clown TV everywhere, and it'll help everybody out.
He's going to be great. He needs to be our publicist.
I know. I mean, who knew?
Right?
Amazing.
Thank God
And
for
I love your
whatever.
room. I love all those things in your room. You have all those great action.
Too many.
What are those things called? I mean, my friend collects those. What are those things called?
Oh, the Funko Pops.
Yes. He's got like everyone.
Yeah, I have.
Fred Flintstone has the same. He has shelves that he's put all over his apartment, and he's got countless.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big man child with my 30,000 toys over here.
That's great.
No, that's perfect. Perfect. Well, you did us right. We're very happy to have somebody remember our show.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you guys are okay with talking to me and having this kid bother you every few months or so to talk about.
A lot of people don't know this, Wesley, but I'm 30 years younger than Tutu. I was an infant at the time we shot that. They made me look older with camera angles and stuff. But
whenever I needed to look at my makeup, I looked on top of his head to get the properly. So start with me.
Well, you should have looked a little bit more often. Just
this torch that I carry for you.
We don't even need to write a script for the next one. You guys still got it.
Do something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming on, though, and I hope you guys...
Surprise! Are you surprised?
I was surprised, yes.
I hope... I hope you guys hang in there and have a good rest of your quarantine. Whenever we all are done with this, hopefully we can all do something fun, do something cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
But definitely everybody hang in there, everybody watching, and hopefully when this is all over, we will all be better for it, and
we'll celebrate.
Yeah, celebrate with some whipped cream pies. There you go.
A nosy cake. There's nosy cake too.
Even better, nosy cake and nosy pie. There you go.
I'm hungry now.
What?
I'm hungry now.
Me too.
All right.
I've got cake in a can right here.
See, hoarding it.
It's forever. All right. We should let those 4 people that are watching us. We should let them go.
Line, is it?
What?
No.
Oh, I was like, oh my God.
No.
Who's paying attention?
No. I'll probably have to edit some of this down, to be honest. I don't know if YouTube is I don't know if YouTube is ready for all this.
Especially the last 15 minutes.
Right. What? I think you should lead with this. Okay.
Next time we're getting everybody together, but I don't know. That might be 3 hours.
Mwah.
Ah.
Mwah. Bye.
All right. Thank you so much for tuning in to Quarantine Conversations. I want to thank Sam Zeller and Terry Ray for spending time with me. I'll have their social media in the description below. I'll also have our social media down there if you want to follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And we'll see you next time.
Good to see you guys. Did you get everything you needed, Wesley?
That and more. You guys have been great.
Nice.
Yay.
All right.
Did you say yay or did you say gay?
Both.